Wow, guys, I came on early because everything pretty much ended. So I wanted to come on here and wow is all I can say. Where do I even start with this? Where do I even start? We have just gone through the biggest psyop in American history. And it started with Gaga and her serpent crown of thorns hairdo, and as well as her Mockingjay pendant right out of the Hunger Games. The student of the spirit cooker herself, Marina Abramovich, gave the national anthem. That should send you the signal as to which God these people are all praying to, because there was a lot of praying going on during the inauguration. Now, one of the first things out of Bitten's mouth was domestic threats. Just like we said it was going to be. They're going to come after everybody who has any kind of thoughts and sentiments, and there will be a series of false events that will probably begin to happen. This will be much like the Obama years with the school things that happened during those years. And he confirms this by invoking Lincoln's name, which of course was the civil president, WAR. And make no mistake, this is what they're after. And then he goes into this tirade of kumbaya, let's all come together. And that's all to basically have you lower your guard. What's really happening here is they're trying to do the cover over now. They've achieved their objectives in terms of complete and total control and carrying out full and total censorship all the way up to the highest office of the president. And now they have everything they need to control the narrative. So now they're going to say kumbaya, right? Because there will be no dissenting voices. They'll be quickly scrubbed away from the internet. So he's trying to project all this unity and positivity. But yet you look around and there is no positivity or unity. As the crap hole is surrounded by troops with a show of power and strength surpassing anything that I've seen in recent history. Even broadcasting on many YouTube outlets where all of the chats are closed and disabled, with dramatic thumbs down across most channels, in plain sight, claiming there is freedom, but in our face, shutting that very freedom down. Then Bitten jumps right into the right-left paradigm again by stigmatizing the protesters who came to the Krabbit hole, speaking about them as one large group instead of the very few who did what they did. He could have extended a true olive branch by saying, look, I know most of the people that came there in peace. I'm reaching out to you because I know you came there in peace. You aren't the problem. He could have said that, but that would have gone directly against the agenda that they've already set out, which is to name a group and then bring it down. That very group will be the target of 2021. Then he starts, let's make sure we're connected. I'll keep going with this because there's way more. Then he goes into and starts talking about disunion, that this should not lead to disunion. Now, when you use the words disunion and Abraham Lincoln in the same sentence, that sounds eerily familiar to what happened during the Civil WAR when there were states that wanted to secede from the Union. So this is inflammatory rhetoric, make no mistake. Then I think the highlight of the entire thing was just as they flash over to Bill Clinton Bitten talks about telling the truth and beating the lies. As liar in chief and his wife and the other liar here, this is Bush, who lied about a lot of things, are sitting there and have never been brought to justice and are richer than ever and on their little ranches and with all their money. Do you see the lies here? So how do you start out not telling a lie by lying? How do you start out by bringing the country together by trying to again build it on a foundation of lies? Then he pushes the race card again by talking about people judging other people because of their color. Last time I checked, that didn't exist. He asserts that systemic racism still exists. And here's the thing, by their very definition of what they're saying is still existing, the fact that we've had a black president and now a black VP proves that racism comes from the top down and it doesn't really exist on the person-to-person level down here with all of us. Because according to their definition, how do these people get elected? If there was people judging, a whole bunch of people in this country judging people by their color, how did they even get elected? Now, I can speak to this because I am a black person, and I'm only telling you that not to elevate myself as a black person, but to make a point. And I'll tell you my story in a minute. Many of you have heard it already. The very fact that his own Justice Department choice was asserting that blacks are superior, that proves top-down racism. So nothing's changed with Bitten. It's the same rhetoric. And of course, he paraded out his, black supporters. It was disproportionate, in my opinion. There's only 13% black people in this country, but yet you saw a whole lot of black people being represented here. Almost close to, I would say, a quarter to half. And it's not because he loves black people. It's because this is how you keep the divide going. Saying one thing, doing another. So here we have another Janus president. Say one thing, do another. Oh, I want racism to end, but then you keep promoting it. Here's the thing. Who cares what someone thinks about your race as long as they're not in your path to success and freedom? I agree with laws against discrimination, but I don't agree that you should force someone to like you because of your color. If they have a problem with it, fine. Just don't stop me from getting a job and don't mess with my property, and it's great. You're on your own path to discovery. God will get through to you if you're a real Christian. He'll help you to see people without color. And I believe most people in America think like that. We don't care about color. Now, here's where things go off the rails, because I believe personally, as a black person, that every time a black person like myself brings up their color to elevate their race, to me, that's racism. That's reverse racism. If you say something, here I am, here I stand, a proud black man, that's a racist comment. It's black nationalism, the same way it would be for white people if they identified their race as something better than the rest of us. And a lot of this is going on here. It was in the poems that were read, in the speeches. They kept pulling the race card out. So nothing has changed. Now, America is still living the double standard. Now, how am I proof that racism doesn't exist in America anymore? Well, I'll tell you my story very quickly. Many of you have already heard it. Grew up without a father, basically. He was here and there, but my mom raised us, single mother. Grew up around children who were white and Asian, Hispanic. All of us came from poor background. My mom lifted herself up as a black woman. Worked for the state of California, 25 years. Retired now with a healthy pension. Was she ever once called the N-word? Never. Did someone not like her because of her color? Maybe a few times. But did that stand in her way of success? Never. I then took the torch, pulled myself through high school, got a college degree, the Bachelor of Science. Oh, by the way, my mom did that with an associate's degree. My father worked for the Department of Corrections, retired as well. His story wasn't as great because he got into some addictions, but he still made a healthy amount of money. And if someone called him the N-word, they'd be fired. And to my knowledge, it never happened. But in fact, people were afraid of my father. He was very intimidating. And then myself, I got a Bachelor of Science degree and had a career making six figures. So where's the racism in this story? I don't see it. Now, that might have been true 30 years ago, but I'm a 47-year-old man, so I grew up in the 80s. I think the worst thing that ever happened to me is my friends teased me because they said I had a big nose. I mean, that was like the worst thing that happened to me. And maybe I didn't get to date maybe the people I wanted to date because there weren't a lot of other African-American girls to choose from in my high school. So, big deal. At the end of the day, there was opportunities. So, Biden keeps pushing the right-left paradigm. Nothing's changed. He's the new dawn. Then he starts bringing up the dark winter. And of course, he pulls out a Bible quote about the dark winter. And of course, these people mock God at every turn. This is what they do. Most of the people you see standing here don't even believe in God. And definitely not Lady Gaga, who did the national anthem. Now, he's also, once again, playing the black card. He's basically pandering to the black people. They're trying to, dig this whole thing back up. They don't really care about black people. Because if they did, watch. You watch Bitten. Guess what he does next? He's probably going to reinstitute the federal funding for the parenthood. And guess how many black women go through that? It's disproportionate. And that will continue on again. I mean, it's already, parenthood is still going full and strong without federal funding. But just make no mistake, when that gets fired back up by Bitten, because he's reversing a lot of what Trump did, that will continue on full steam ahead. And then basically the camera pans out as this thing starts to whittle down, and you see the tip of the spear. This looks a lot like Mr. T's T-Tower. At the bottom where all the trees are standing, we are the trees. So we have another tip of the spear as they say bye to the dawn by bringing in by dawn. Now those are my thoughts on what happened today. I did upload a video during his speech. I didn't realize that it was the timing of it. So be sure to check that out after I get off here. I'm not going to stand here too long because I want to be back on here tomorrow with you guys. But those are my thoughts on the inauguration. I love each and every one of you. Have a great day.